The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show.
Hello, Cleaning Nation. This is part 1 in a 2-part episode. Stay tuned for the next episode for part 2. Enjoy.
Hey, Cleaning Nation. Mike Campion here. I have one of my clients with my favorite name to say, Kayla Darling, she did, for those of you joining us on video, she just did a little Kayla Darling face, which was just lovely. I have been looking forward to talking with this lady for a long time because I actually got the opportunity to invite her into our program, which I don't always get to do, and see her grow. And not only is she a rock star, so I'm excited to brag on her in front of you guys, she's super representative of a lot of moms who are but if I put any words in your mouth or say anything that's not the case, Kayla, feel free to interrupt and call me.
Okay.
I don't want to this is my perspective. Feel free to fill it in if I misrepresent you or label you at all. But just a mom being pulled a lot of different directions. Single mom, I believe. So dealing with, by the way, having more than one kid and being a single mom, that's a big deal. Like, just period. Nothing else, just that. And I was raised by a single mom. So I was just me, and not that I wasn't a pain in the butt, but still just one pain in the butt. Kayla's got 2 probably less pain in the butt kids, but multiple. So you've got to deal with, I'm raising kids by myself. I've got to feed these people and myself and do fun things like live indoors. And I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. And those are like 3, and God forbid, Kayla's a human being that has her own like desires or needs that need to be met. So that's my take on when we first met. I would love to hear where you were. And by the way, I think we met less than 3 months ago, right? 2-3 months. It's been, so this is not 6 years in. And by the way, Clean Nation, if you're like, sometimes people have been with you for a couple of years and sometimes only a couple of months, I'm like, I know, it's fun to see like how it all progresses. So when you came, what was frustrating? What made you reach out? What was going on in your life and your business, and what made you go, I got to do something different?
That's a really good question. And that's really the point I was at, where I was like, when I reached out and connected with you, I was like, I need something different. And there are so many aspects of my business and life that I could pull to give you that answer. And I think really the answer is just everything. There are so many like aspects of owning a business that if you're not, strategizing and organizing things very well, your business can run you and it can suck the life out of you. And then on top of that, like I'm pretty ADD anyways, so I'm like, all right, I got a client call here. And then like I'm making lunch over here. And then my kid fell and the dog ran away. Now I got to go catch him, but I'm still like pretending I'm on the phone with the client, pretending like nothing's wrong, looking for the dogs, like running around my neighborhood, and my neighbors are mad at me. Like that's like a classic every day. And like, God forbid a cleaner like wouldn't show up to work. Then I'm like doing all of that at the same time, but putting the dog in the car, putting the kids in the car, like throwing a sandwich in the back seat, running to go clean a house really quickly, like dropping them off at grandma's, all while like pretending everything's fine. So I really just needed help to rein in like my business so that I could ground and like focus on reorganizing my life, because money is only money at some point. If you're crazy, like it's not helpful anymore. But sorry for the long-winded answer. I don't know.
No, that was I don't think there's very many moms out there, single otherwise, going, that doesn't resonate at all. Like, I don't know. None of that's me. My life's perfect. I'm pretty sure.
And if people don't get that, they from the outside looking in, they're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, that's exactly how I feel. You're 100% right. This is insanity. Don't do this. Like, don't try it at home. None of it.
So that was my next question. I think a lot of people listen, and I've been there, by the way. So this isn't me judging anyone. This is me bringing my friend Kayla, who's gone through some of the same stuff I've gone through. It wasn't like that just happened for 3 days and then you're like, well, this isn't the life I want, I'll get it changed. I'm guessing it kind of got worse, like the frog getting boiled slowly, right? Where it got worse and worse and worse. What made you go from, because again, I don't know how long you listen to podcasts or how long you've been percolating, but there's some people what made it go from, I know in the back of my head, there's a dull, this isn't working and this isn't the life that I want, to, okay, it's more painful. to do nothing and keep this life than it is to do something and step out of my comfort zone and make a change? What was there something that made you be like, all right, enough's enough? Or how did that click happen?
It was years in the making, because I've tried a lot of different things in the cleaning industry. Like we've done commercial, we've done the, painful post-construction cleaning and so many things. And I was at a point recently where I was trying to hire people to help support like the organization and like admin stuff in my business. And I feel like every aspect of business that I've tried to do on my own with no help, didn't even know help existed. So answer one is I didn't know where you were and I needed you 6 years ago. So thank you for appearing.
That's fair. Well, and by the way, it's so, I love Kayla kind of externalizing, like, I didn't know there was help available, but it's so funny how I guarantee you'd, whether it's me or some other coaching company, saw an ad there. We were there, right? It just,
I wasn't ready for it.
You didn't exactly. Yeah. So
I needed to do it wrong enough times and be done. Like, it was like, I felt like I needed a certain amount of information to like get me to where I needed to be. And I felt like I was ready to let go of some of the control of like me wanting to try it. Like, I think some of the advice you give in your course, like 2 years ago, I would have been like, no, that's not what I want to do. And it was dumb. And it, sorry to my past self, but I wouldn't have been ready for certain changes.
And actually your current self is pretty self-aware. So that, believe it or not, as a coach's perspective, I see that all the time, but it's hard for me to articulate it. Because when I say you're being dumb, do it different, you're like, you got your own agenda. You're trying to manipulate me. So very self-aware to go, you know what? And that's the case, by the way, because as coaches, we're always stuck between, I know what's going to happen. People call and they're like, I think I can try it on my own. I'm going to figure it out. And I know that that's never going to work, but there's a piece of it that, and I've had several people say to me, I called you the first time and for whatever reason, you didn't invite me in to the program and I was pissed. And then when I called back, I'm so glad that you didn't, or vice versa for you. Like, I didn't reach out or I didn't try to make a change. I just wasn't ready. So yeah, I want to kind of give some energy to be that self-awareness for all of you listening. Like, if you're at the point you're like, I think I want to try this one, if I can figure it out, like, God bless. Like, it's not, I don't know, a good coach or any coach is going to be able to be like, let me beat you into submission. You kind of have to be like, all right, I've had enough of this train. I want to get on a different train.
Yeah. And I'm happy I went through everything I went through with my business. Like, there's some definitely hard roadblocks that I needed to hit in order to have the understanding and the appreciation for the change, I think, and to be ready for it. Because it's not comfortable changing. It's not comfortable getting out of, your comfort zone or growing all the time. So I'm grateful for the struggle for sure.
So let me give one thing that I'm stealing from Anthony Robbins, and we'll walk into how you change and what's different and all the good stuff so people can take that away. I think it's Awaken the Giant with them, but I know it's Anthony Robbins talked about change happening in a second, which is, for me, was revolutionary, because I thought, just like you said, like it was a long time coming. It took a couple of years. And if we think about losing weight, changing our business, drug addiction, not that I've had that, but I've heard and seen any major change in your life, it feels like it was a long, we'll use weight loss, because I think a lot of people, Kayla's like the skinniest person ever, so she probably knows what I'm talking about. But for the other non-freaks of nature out there that may struggle with that, there may have been a period of years or decades where like I was on the diet and off the diet and this and this and this. And then, it took me all that time and then I finally changed. It's like, nope. What happened was one time, 10 years in, 2 years in, 10 seconds in, you said, that's enough. I'm done. And at the time, you might not have known. You might have been like, we'll see. I'm just one more time. But then you play it out a year, 2 years, 5 years, you look back, you're like, that was the moment. So even though oftentimes we allow pain for longer than we have to, the pain, it's not like it's a cumulative thing. Like, I had to go through that. We choose to go through that, which is fine. Kayla's an adult. She's like, no, I want to try it on my own. And I knew that was going to cost me some time and money and headache. And it was worth it to me. Totally fine. But don't feel like it's a rule somewhere that you have to suffer for X amount of period. Like, sometimes people will come to me and go, I want out of cleaning, maybe in a year or two. I'm like, well, is that what you want? Are you really excited and passionate about cleaning for a year or two? And then you want to get out? They're like, no, I just think I don't think I can do it faster. It's like, well, same thing. Like, I want to lose weight. I want to quit drugs. I want to get out of this bad relationship. I want to change my bit, whatever the case may be. But I feel like I've got to go through more pain and suffering. It's like, you don't, so I would encourage you to, not you, Kayla, but you, Kayla, and Cleaning Nation, to adopt the change happens in a second, and you can go I'm going to wait until, they talk about it with alcoholism, you got to hit rock bottom, right? Like or you could just say, I don't want to go to rock. I'll watch other people's rock bottom and go, I never want to get there. I'm just going to change preemptively. So just throwing that out there as a coach who gets a lot of people who have to go out in the world, get their teeth kicked in, and then come back and be like, oh my gosh, that's the worst. I wish I'd done it 6 months ago. Like, Kayla, I wish I'd have found you 6 months ago. Anyway, point made. Hey, new friend, love that you were here. If you want more Cleaning Nation, more us, you can check us out on YouTube. Similar content, you just get to see each other. It's totally free. Or if you want to say, hey, hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, join our free Facebook group. We love hearing from you, Cleaning Nation. That's what makes it magic. Jump on, we'll see you there. What did you do different? How has your life changed? What did you not like? What did you like? Anything that you think would be of value to Cleaning Nation at large?
Throughout the program, like what did I do differently? What did I change? And what happened? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
I really like the change in mindset of like what it means to work on my business instead of in it. Because I feel like I was misusing that term for a long time. Like I'm working on my business, but like really I was, being consumed by my business. And I really like.
Do you think before you didn't know the difference, or you knew the difference but didn't want to face the difference?
It was the second one for sure.
Okay, so you kind of had a gut feeling like I'm working on my business was for everyone else, and even maybe for yourself in the mirror, but when you're quiet at night, deep in your gut, you're like, I know that this thing owns me and I don't own it. Am I putting words in your mouth? Or is that what you're saying?
No, that's exactly how yeah. And to feel like owned by your business is overwhelming. Like I would go through days or like nights where I was like, I just felt stuck. Like, I feel like that, I had my kids, in high school, like, which is not the recommendation.
For those of you that can't see Kayla, she looks like she's about 23 years old. I'm guessing she has kiddos, but she's a young lady. Go ahead.
And yeah, I'm 27 now, but I would just feel like terrified of like, this is my life and I don't know how to gain control over it. And it was just, it was an awful feeling. And I was like, how do I get out of cleaning? How do I make this happen? Do I have to go to school? No, we'll be poor. We won't have a house. Like I'm in this. And I do love my business, but that's a real terror, is feeling like there's this animal that's out of control and it's running your life and you don't know how to make it so you can have like one day to yourself. Or one day that you can plan. It's overwhelming.
So first of all, the characterization of an animal that's out of control. I've been doing this almost a decade. I've never heard it put that way. And I really like that. I think I'm going to steal that from you because I do believe that's how people like it. Not only is out of control, it's going to devour you. And I really
No, I felt devoured. I had no personal relationships, no friendships, like no me time, like no sanity. Like people would come up to me and ask normal human being questions, like, what kind of ice cream do you like? I'm like, I don't care. Who eats ice cream? Like I'm working.
What do you do for fun? You're like, work. Like, no, for fun. You're like, work. Like, I don't know any other answer. I work.
Yeah, like I have no joy in my soul. Do you not see that right now?
I try to keep my kids from not dying and I work.
Yeah. And then that becomes your identity after years. So I think right now, so as a single mom, there was like this feeling of lack of support. I really like the advice that you have given with how to hire in the business. I noticed like my kind of like single mom, I have no help mentality would like go into my business. Like I have to do it by myself, or I would try to find one person to like the manager to like just make a magic solution happen and like get my business under control for me. But like, you talked about like thin slicing the staff members. And I am so in love with that because now I have this like whole team. And if something's wrong, I'm like, I just slacked the team. There's so much support. And I'm like, like I feel love from the universe, like raining down. It's a dramatic image, but that's how I feel, like having a whole team of support. And I like the culture that you really helped push. Cause I was too like this, like with blinders on in my business. I wasn't connecting with my employees from like the right mindset. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was more like stress and anxiety. Like, I need you to get this done for me. Like, I need you to do this. And this is what I need. Like, it wasn't like, hey, let's be real and let's be people. And that made me shitty to work for sure too.
So two things. One, Kayla, you need to write copy. Like you're, it raining down and animal out of control. Like you're so good with words. Like you are a copywriter waiting to happen. Two, for those of you like, man, enough of talking about where she was, hurry up and tell me.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Well, hold on, let me finish. Because actually it's very common. And the guy that's speaking right now is the most guilty of this. As entrepreneurs, we're super optimistic typically and super into like, let's just go, let's just get this fixed. So what that can look like is a impatience to really get clarity on the problem, and that the problem's real, and that the effect that that problem is having. So I love, for Kayla, I'm sure you experienced it differently, but what I'm seeing just listening to you is you had to go through all this stuff, and the magic, and obviously systems and beliefs and all that sort of cool stuff helped. But until you were really like, this is freaking chaos, I'm not willing to do it, I need new help, that's when it happened. So Cleaning Nation, I really want to encourage you. It is so much more comfortable to do, just, you said it so perfectly, Kayla, where you're like, I said I was working on my business, but I was confused with what that word meant. And then we kind of dove in. You're like, I was really just embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know the chaos that was my life. So I just want to encourage guys, gals. Part of that moment of I'm going to make a change is, like, we'll use weight loss or drugs or alcohol, rock bottom, something truly awful happens with drugs or alcohol. And like, that's it. I just saw myself passed out in front of my toddler and he almost, got into the knives. Or I looked at myself in the mirror and just went, oh my goodness, I can't. I can't. I'll share one on behalf of somebody else, which is terrible, but I don't know his name, so it's okay. One of the worst stories ever is my 24-year-old. This was a long time ago. He was like 4, and I were in the Glenwood Springs, and it's beautiful there, yeah. And we were in the guys' changing room, and there was a really large naked man with his belly kind of hanging down, and you know how there's kind of a buzz and, everyone's talking at one time and sometimes there's a lull. So right when there's a lull, and it kind of went from normal buzz level to dead silence, was the exact moment my son went, Daddy, why does that man have no pee-pee? Because his belly was kind of hanging over. And I just pictured, I felt so bad, and we all felt terrible for the, of course my son wasn't trying to be hurtful. He was 3 and the rest of us just felt awful. Like, I'm certainly not trying to shame this poor man. Yeah. But I can see in my mind, I'm telling myself, so I have some sort of positive for this, that guy went home and said, dang it, today's the day. I'm not going to, I've got to make a change in my life. So I just want to encourage you, Cleaning Nation, don't wait till some 3-year-old makes you feel terrible in front of the world, God and everybody. Decide, take a look at yourself in the mirror and go, or take a look at yourself from someone else and go, this isn't the life I created. And I have control, right? And that's, again, because all the bad negative stuff, rock bottom's only a bad story if you keep at it. But that's the moment that you inflect and change, that can be the highlight of the story. I'm telling myself, hoping against hope, that guy's telling this exact same story I'm telling right now, but he's fit and looks great and feels amazing. And not that that's not how we'd coach someone to lose weight, but he used that as a moment to be like, I've got to make something change. So that said, Cleaning Nation, be okay with looking eyeball to eyeball with the real pain and the real suffering. And I like cleaning. It's okay. It's not that bad. My kids understand I have to work. I'm not that miserable. Who needs to sleep? My body's breaking down. It's okay.
Who needs to sleep? Yeah.
Yeah. All this just bull crap. Let's get, and you don't have to live there. I'm not saying you should every day just beat the crap out of yourself, but every month or so, if you're not happy, get real with yourself and go, this isn't what I want. And then do something, right? Like, if you just look at it and go, oh, you stupid idiot. Like, this poor large man, if he just went home and felt terrible, like there was nothing. But if he used that as a point to take action, could have been the best day of his life. Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share it with a friend. Share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431, 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now, 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.